Hi, I'm Joe Lugosh from Peapod Jewelry, and today we are going to make a mold together out of silicone rubber. So here we go. So first we are going to make sure that we have all of the things we need, and we are using 10 to 1 silicone mold rubber, which means we're using 10 parts this and 1 part of this. I just have to make sure that everything here, or at least this one, is shaken up well. And after I do that, I'm going to open this up and I'm going to pour some of it into this container because dealing with the big one is a little unruly. And this will make it easier for me to use my little syringe to get the amount that I desire. So now that I have my scale set up down here, I am going to start with the part 1 of the mold rubber. And I'm using this syringe here because it gets me a pretty accurate amount, and I want to have about 50 milliliters of this. So I'm going up to 50 here. It seems pretty good. And then once I get that, I get the extra off on the edge here. But then I'm going to put that into here. So it's coming out to about 65 grams, 65.12, which means that if I've got 10 parts of this to 1 part of the other, I need to have 6.513 about of the second part of the mold rubber, which I will do right now. So now I've tared this out and I'm going to get what I need out of here, and I'm going to add it to here so I have 6.51 grams. So it goes up fast. .12, and I'm going to stop right there. Now, it doesn't have to be perfectly exact, but pretty close, almost exact, otherwise we end up with a mold rubber that's way too hard or way too soft. We need to do it right, so that's why we're using the milligram scale here. And then once we've done that, then we are going to mix and this needs to be mixed completely, because any part of the mixture, if it's unmixed, will just stay the way it is. It needs to be perfectly mixed up to solidify the right way. And I know that because I've done it wrong a few times. Now, as you can see down here, this is the leaf that we're working on. And that is what I will be pouring this into once I have it all set. So now what I'm doing is I'm putting the mold material into our vacuum unit, which will hopefully suck out any air bubbles that are in there so that when we pour it into the little mold frame here with our leaf, there won't be bubbles left, which will mess up the detail of the piece when we mold it. So I'm just going to make sure everything is closed up, and then turn that on and see what happens. And we're just going to leave that in there for about 4 or 5 minutes until I'm sure that all the bubbles have come out of it before we pour. Alright, now it's time to shut this off and release the pressure. There we go. And I'll fold that over itself once just to make sure that anything else is thoroughly mixed, but try not to add too many bubbles. It's sort of the closest thing to baking that I ever do. So now it's time to pour our mold. As you can see, the piece of jewelry is in here inside 2 panes of glass, and then there's an aluminum frame. The top is open. Now this is to make the shape of the mold uniform, and we need to hold it in there somewhere because it's a liquid. And here we go with the pour. Just want to make sure that I don't drip anything out over the sides, just because it's messy. And if it gets on your skin, it can turn you into a supervillain. Little known fact. All right, and that's all we need to do as far as pouring goes, but now it's time to put this back in. And here we have our mold that has been poured and put under suction, so there should be no bubbles in there, and if there are any, they will probably float out by the time it cures. And now we're just going to put this over here by the crock pot, which we are using for another project, but that'll just keep the mold warm, which will allow it to cure it. Which will allow it to cure faster. And it should be done in about 15 or 16 hours under heat. So we will show you when everything is done, and we'll do a little video about how to cut a mold. All right, thanks for watching.